Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 5USC quarterfinals. We have got a few matches going on at the moment, but over here on the H stream, it is going to be Michigan A versus Stateless A, Seed 8 versus Seed 19. We also do have Massachusetts versus Colorado A over on the E stream. Don't ask me what the link for that is. And then we've got New York A versus Indiana A, which is going to be happening on the B stream. That'll be a 2:30 UTC match, so make sure to stay tuned for this one as well. But I'm MyFlame, joined tonight by Steve. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Fighting with the streaming at the moment, but yeah, looking forward to this. Stateless historically been a very strong team, but they've had a decent number of roster changes, and they're kind of gonna have a lot to prove to stay in here up against a much higher seed.
Yeah, stateless this year consisting of Trans Rectagon or Tums, Parrot, HCL Spiff, Bonflow, and Pox LePerson. I don't believe it is going to be an easy one as the first ban from Stateless checks out. This Michigan A team is very strong on some of these reading picks. They had the top hidden 2 score in the qualifiers, and I believe we're number 8 on the easy, very respectable score, whereas Stateless did struggle a little bit more with those picks. And on the side of Michigan, we do have Memesicle, Twisty, Silboy, Atara, Papa Flame, and Beef Wellington to round out the roster. So they struggle a little bit more with some of the Hard Rock, some of the DTs, so we do expect to see those banned out. And they are, in fact, going to ban out DT2 and followed up with a DT3 ban since there are no restriction on double bans. And we expect Stateless is likely going to be banning out one of those hidden maps as their second ban.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense to me. I think Stateless probably gonna be very strong on some of those DTs.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
they're
going
going
for
for Hard
HR2.
Rock.
Interesting.
Yeah, that certainly is interesting. Parrot says I'm target banned out of match, so by their own team, of course, as one does. But yeah, this is definitely a bit of a more surprising one. I mean, Stateless did struggle with some of the Hard Rock maps as well, but Michigan have seemed a bit less comfortable on those maps. So it seems like one of those bands where they're saying, okay, we actually just don't have anybody who can play this map comfortably, so we're going to have to ban it out. But that does leave pretty much the entirety of the hidden pool open for Michigan Hiddens 1 through 3 as pretty good picks. And I mean, there are only 5 picks before a tiebreaker, so I think that makes Michigan's pick ban pretty straightforward for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think sometimes maybe with the Hard Rock too, if you only have one person who can play it, 1v3 can be difficult. I'd say personally, as somebody who plays precision maps, I think the Hard Rock 2 was a bit easier than Flex, easier for maybe players who aren't quite as comfortable to get a decent amount of score. So if they're not feeling comfortable on it, then I could see that being something that you just want to get rid of.
Yep, and they're going to jump right on this Hard Rock 2 ban by following it up with a Flex 1 pick that is going to be the other precision map in the pool, so that pick makes a lot of sense. It's going to be CS7, more slider aim focused kind of pick. And I'm a big fan of that pick from Michigan. Just targeting your opponent's weaknesses based on their bans does make a lot of sense.
Definitely.
Here, 8.7 as well is quite interesting.
Yeah, I do. I've seen a decent amount of Flex 1 first pick, which does surprise, or I guess I should say just the precision first pick, because I think I've seen Hard Rock 2 as well. But that is definitely like a risky strategy, just because first map nerves, like, I mean, it obviously is going to depend on how the players are feeling, but once you get up above like CS7, it's really easy to go from being, oh, I can FC this, to holy crap, I just dropped 200k if you just are a bit nervous. That said, I do think a lot of the players, especially on these A teams, are tournament veterans, and so maybe not quite as significant as of a factor as you can see sometimes.
Yeah, definitely likely to have quite a few more experienced players on these higher seeded rosters, especially on the A side. And it looks like we've got the rosters filling out now. Papa Flame, Twisty, Memesicle facing off against Transrectagon, HCL, and Parrot. Good luck, have funs in the chat. So we are going to be getting into our first map here.
Like I forgot to fix the audio, so hopefully that's coming through now. There we go.
Oh, thank goodness. We do have audio. Musical has not loaded in. We might just need a panic. There we go. Everyone loaded in the map. Let's see if we can get some gameplay going here. We are going to see a couple early misses. Looks like just from Transrectagon. Pretty low accuracy from Parrot, but has managed to hold on to the combo. Over on the side of Michigan A, they're holding their combo strong, but it's a relatively tame start to the map, so we do expect to see significantly higher combos to start. And then as we get into the first KI, those combos may start to drop. We do see a couple more misses. Parrot is going to be the next to miss, and that's going to be a pretty nice buffer. So 2,000 points for Michigan early on here.
So far, Michigan looking pretty comfortable on their first pick here. Everybody holding decent accuracy, and with HCL dropping, that's going to be no more full combos for Stateless now. Alpha Flame does trade, but that's not really much of a trade when you've still got 2 FCs.
Yeah, there are good recoveries on Stateless, Parrot, and Transrectagon have done a nice job building those combos back up, so if we do see any misses out of Twisty or Musical, Stateless, they're right there, ready to capitalize. It is nearly 200,000 points in favor of Michigan now, but there's lots of time left in this map for Stateless to make a comeback. So this one's far from over. That miss from Transrectagon is not going to be helping them. Yes, it's traded by Papa Flame, but that trade will favor Stateless. Memesicle, it's actually a full reset. That is a really brutal pattern. Same as the whole lobby, but full resets are perfectly fine for Michigan, and they already have the lead. They don't need the combo advantage at this stage, but it does give Stateless potential angle back into this match. There goes Parrot and Transrectagon yet again. They're having a tough time rebuilding those combos, unfortunately.
And yeah, looks like only real combo at the moment is for Papa Flame. HCL a little bit behind and missing there. As we cruise through the second half of the map, a bunch of people missing once the sliders start picking back up. That said, I think even with Twisty missing there, I mean, that's a full reset for Michigan, but there's just no combo on Stateless to do anything with that.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like Stateless at this stage has unfortunately run out of time. And they did get the misses they needed, but they were not able to hold on to their combos. And it looks like Michigan are going to be taking their first point, but it was their first pick as well. So it's not an unexpected result. Stateless, they're not going to be too stressed about it, and they're going to be looking forward to their next pick instead.
Not much in the end of this map here.
Yeah, and looking towards Stateless's pick, they did have some good qualifier scores on some more of the streamy tapping focus maps. Of course, they would have liked to have those DT 2 and 3 available, but there are a couple other DT maps still available in the pool. Of course, that DT 4 being a kind of a more flow aim focus map could be a decent option for them. And then, of course, that No Mod 2 I think would be another very reasonable pick for Stateless. Outside of that, I think the picks do get a little bit more difficult. Maybe they want to go into something more mechanical, like some of those alt picks. But I feel like they are likely to start with the remaining tapping in the pool here.
Yeah, I could see that, especially with Michigan coming right out of the gate banning them. As unsurprisingly, we get a no mod 5.
Oh, it's going to be your 240 BPM, a relatively dense speed map. So they go for the last remaining. This is the last remaining real speed map in the pool, I would say. You do have other tapping options, but nothing quite so high BPM. So if you are stateless, you do kind of expect this to be your really favorite pick. You are expecting to win. So Michigan have a chance for pretty big upset here if they can pull out a break point.
Definitely. Stateless is very much going to want to win this one. I think if they lose on this right now, it's going to be setting them off in a very bad situation. Not just because, it always sucks to lose your first pick, but also because I think they probably don't have as many maps in the pool to pick that they would be actually confident on winning.
Exactly. When you are the lower seeded team, it's so much more important to win your own picks because the higher seeded team is likely going to have quite a few maps to pick through that they feel pretty advantaged on. And so you're going to have a much tougher time finding break points for the most part, which makes every break point all the more devastating. But I do think this is a good pick for them. We have the same players in the lobby so far for Stateless. We are going to get Fox in person in for as a third on the tapping map. And it looks like Michigan A are going to be running the same roster back as well.
Jeff in chat, looks like we are getting started here.
Looks like this is a Nick speed map. Those are always a good time. And here we go into Onostrafa. Let's see if Stateless can keep things close early on in this match, keep the score within reach as these players make their way through the intro. We'll do that first miss coming through. No, it was a Boncho miss, so I'll have to keep an eye on the Boncho misses, but I will also have to keep an eye on the accuracy. These speed maps, the accuracy, especially early on, can be very telling as two players come for a level. We see Twisty currently with the highest accuracy in the lobby on the side of Michigan. Parrot, though, 98% actually looking very comfortable, and it is a lower accuracies on the other four players. We've yet to see a miss, so in the first miss is going to be a big one this part of the map. That is a big miss from Papa Flame, dropping the combo and the accuracy. Going to give a pretty good edge to Stateless because we've got a bit of a free clear combo section here where Stateless can just build up that score advantage with their extra full combo. And they've got a little bit of time before they get to the next really tricky section. Is going to be finding that next miss for Michigan. It is Twisty up against the world, still 3 FC strong on the side of Stateless, and they find themselves up 200,000 points with just under half the map to go. This ending is not easy. This is where the stamina starts to catch up to players, as this is a longer map, but there's also a ton of combo potential here. I mean, Stateless looking so comfortable on this pick, clearly picked for a reason. And now Michigan are going to need to see all three of these combos drop very soon if they want any chance of a comeback.
Yeah, I think we can really see why Michigan wanted to go straight out of the gate, no hesitation, ban DT or DT.
Yeah, no question there. Those were some very well thought out bans by Michigan and Stateless quickly barreling towards a three-way full combo. Let's see how many of FCs they can hold on to towards this ending. Twisty still holding strong for Michigan as well. We could see four. There goes Fox the Persons. It's not going to be the three-way FC. Can they get two on the board?
Wow, what a team score from Stateless.
Yeah, that is very impressive. Stateless certainly not going to be rolling over in this match. They've
Yeah.
got some strong picks and they're here to compete. They don't get the triple FC, but they do get the triple S rank, which is very impressive. A good score from Twisty as well
Yeah.
on that one.
Still managing the 95 FC, but it's not going to do much against a team score like that. Honestly, the overall team score for Michigan A probably would have won a lot against a lot of other teams. It's just Stateless is very strong on that Nomad 5.
Yeah, they are one of the scarier tapping teams without a doubt, but that does leave us with Michigan's pick, and I wonder if we do see them go for that HD2, that AR8 hidden map. Feels like it would be the most favored them. And I think Michigan generally are going to have an advantage on some of these more gimmicky maps. Things like the precision, smaller circle size, things like the low AR map. And unfortunately, I believe there's only one more kind of low AR map remaining in the pool, being that HD2. And there it is. We're going to be getting a letter to the Black World, which, let's see, sounds like Dream Overlap reading.
Yeah, this one is very much a stack reading map. It does have perfect stacks. They're not hard to learn. It's fairly consistent, like 5-3, 5-3 type thing. There's kind of like 3 different stack patterns that they use, and they kind of stick to those. That said, the end is very rough, so I'd be pretty impressed to see FCs. Not the worst hidden 2 if you're kind of comfortable on AR8 and willing to practice. That said, if you're not comfortable on the map, it's super easy to just chain miss and get a very low score.
Yeah, and Michigan are clearly very comfortable on these kinds of maps. Their maps, they're certainly going to put in the time to practice them. Given their previous hidden 2 scores throughout the tournament, looking very strong all around. We are going to finally get some new players in the lobby. It's going to be a full roster switch for Michigan as they bring in Deep Wellington, Stillboy, and Atara as well. Stateless are going to be bringing HL and Bonflow here. Looks like this Transrecord is going to be staying in.
Yeah, Stateless, they do have players for this. I know for a fact that they're going to be able to play this so much. It's just going to be a matter of consistency and also that ending in particular. I think Michigan, being as strong as they have a solid chance of pulling out that extra bit of score, even if Stateless does play pretty well.
Oh, and here we go into the HD2. This is a pretty short map at 1 minute and 40 seconds in length, so a lot of these early misses are going to be pretty relevant, and this is one of those maps as well where if you're not comfortable reading the pick, it's easy to drop a fair bit of accuracy, especially just with the timing on these perfect stacks. And we do see that a little bit already with Bonflow dropping a lot of early 100s, but has recovered pretty nicely since then, with actually back up to 96. You can see we're already nearly a quarter of the way into the map. It's going to be over pretty soon, so every miss is going to matter here.
Looks like we have in fact seen everybody practice, everybody comfortable. But we do see a first miss, just a little bit of just a slip up there from Transrected on there. I think that was actually a miss aim.
Yeah, and it's so much easier to miss aim when you're trying to focus on reading the patterns. That's going to be followed up by yet another miss from HCL this time, so Stateless quickly falling behind as they've got 1 FC remaining on Bonflow. Deep Wellington does trade it back. HCL follows it up with yet another miss. It's now going to be 2 FCs to 1. Make that 1 SC to 1. We've got a bit of a battle on our hands, but Michigan have built up a 200,000 point lead, so Stateless desperate for a miss from Atara here, but look at the accuracy. Clearly so comfortable on this pick, showing no signs of slowing down, but Steve at the start of this one, you mentioned how hard the ending was. It's going to claim all of Stateless. They miss on the same pattern. And that's going to be the end of this map for them, as Atara is going to do a really good job to close this one out and get Michigan a second point.
Yeah, just absolutely incredible accuracy on this from Atara. That's incredibly difficult to even hit, let alone the very counterintuitive rhythm. Yeah, one missile on this is pretty insane.
Yeah, that's a very nice score. And Atara, a very big part of why Michigan is so scary on these lower AR picks. But Stateless do have the next one. They do have, some tapping options left in the pool. Unfortunately, none of those are kind of raw speed. Michigan's done a good job of bending those out. But if they do want something slower, they have the No Mod 2, which is 192 BPM stream map. And they also have the DT4, which is more aim control focused, but still does have that low aim kind of tapping element. Mind you, it's 180 BPM. I think so.
I do worry that the No Mod 4 might be going a little bit too far out of the BPM zone where I feel like Stateless has such an advantage, but I'm not 100% sure how comfortable everybody is on sort of that fairly significant flow aim requirements required for that.
Yeah, and likely we're going to see them. It is going to be the DT4.
Okay.
So they do opt into that flow aim control map. It's going to be Sanctuary, a bit of a longer DT map. But I do like the pivot. I mean, because it is more control aim focused, if you do win this map, it potentially opens up, well, I was going to say it potentially opens up other maps in the pool, but there's not really too much more control otherwise. There's, Hidden 3, but I don't know if you want to be picking Hidden 3 into Michigan.
Yeah, I think No Mod 3 is more going to be your sort of snapping.
Yeah, much snappier of a pick for sure, so a good pick, but unfortunately doesn't give them a whole lot of direction afterwards. But you got to focus on the 1 point at a time. I do like the pick overall.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. It's and also does still leave open No Mod 2 if they're feeling comfortable with that as well. They can go back to it's a little bit more APM.
Yep, exactly. Always going to have the No Mod 2 in the back pocket if they want to opt into that next. I do expect we are going to be getting our tapping rosters back in for both states here, so likely to see most of our rating players switch out.
This is a low enough BPM that it might not be I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I believe you're correct. We do see Spiff coming in for Stateless and Doughboy staying into this one as well, so yeah, I don't need the full dedicated speed roster here. And in about 5 minutes time, we are going to be having New York versus Indiana over on the B stream, as well as North Carolina C versus New York B, potentially on the B stream. So, go check out those matches as well. Shout out to all the 5USC streamers for streaming like 4 matches at once. Fifth doesn't quite feel like joining the group.
I think it's just Bancho.
Bancho is just not very inclusive sometimes. We are going to see an early miss from Fox LaPruta who makes their return. That's going to be immediately traded back by Pop and Flame, so Stateless are no worse for wear, and it's just going to be 2 SCs to 2, and they find themselves with ever so slight of a combo advantage. The accuracy looking pretty rough for Fox the first, and unfortunately that combo is going to be worth a fair bit less. It's a 2-3% accuracy difference. It's not the end of the world, but when you have a 5% accuracy difference, it's going to affect your score cap significantly.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot more sensitive to any kind of combo issue. Although Michigan, Pillboy dropping at the same time as the first game.
Now we've got a 1v1 on our hands, maybe Twisty versus Parrot as well. It's a bit of a battle of the supporting combos, and it's only going to be a 30,000 point lead for Michigan, which is far from comfortable on Stateless' second pick. This is the longest GP map in the pool as well, so Stateless have plenty of time to bring this one back. They just need Parrot to hold on. They really can't afford to drop the FC at this point, but here we go into the next PI. We're going to have to keep an eye on these big combos on both sides, Twisty versus Parrot. There goes Twisty. That's a huge miss coming out of Michigan. They do have some good recovery on their supporting combos, but with Parrot not trading that miss back, Stateless are going to pull this score lead back over so quickly and really start to pull away.
Yeah, this is gonna be if Parrot can hold on to combo here. A little bit of pre-combo, but it will pick back up. And if Parrot can hold on, they're gonna start to run away with this lead. Already building up 100k.
Even if Parrot misses now, you do have those recovery combos to fall back on. Foxel Person and Smith are currently matching Steelboy and Papa Flame, so Stateless have a lot of room to work with. They just need to hold on to a couple of these combos. They can even afford to find a miss on this last section. There goes Foxel Person. That's one miss down, and you can afford a couple, but you can't afford many more than that. So we'll see how long they hold. It's a full team reset for Stateless. Steelboy is still on a signature combo, but does find the miss there. Now it's Twisty on a 350 combo, and it's a full team reset from Michigan as well. Stateless, they're going to breathe a sigh of relief because they should be able to hold on to their advantage and tie this one up with what it is again.
That is going to be Stateless winning their pick. Fairly close, but they did manage to hold on to it in the end. Excellent score from Parrot, even with that miss at the end, 850k.
Yeah, it's a very nice score from Parrot. Now Michigan are going to have the next pick, and they are out of, well, they're out of precision and out of low AR picks, but they have looked good on hidden generally, even when it's not a low AR pick, despite despite Steelboy staying for the hidden mod. They do have strong rosters for it, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them opting into either the hidden one or the hidden 3, but that hidden 3 being another control map, maybe they're a little bit spooked by how that DT4 went, and so maybe they actually shy away from that one. There are also a lot of no mods left open in this pool, which I think Machines look pretty good on. You look at something like that Nomad 4, which is much more of a tech picker. Honestly, even the Nomad 1 for Michigan, I think they're pretty solid on the aim picks as well.
Interesting. Alright. Looks like we're getting a hard rock one from Michigan here.
Looks like this is going to be your fast aim pick. Natsuki Nakaru map.
This is kind of a skill cap map, I think. It's fairly, intensive fast aim. And especially that diff spike. There's a lot of diff spike maps in this pool, but this one has one of the, one of the higher skill cap ones. This and the pattern in Mod 3.
That is interesting. I mean, Michigan could certainly be trying to abuse their skill cap here. Michigan, of course, being the highest tier team, generally going to have a slightly higher skill cap and possibly trying to take advantage of that with this pick. We are going to see Steelboy the only one in the lobby right now for Michigan. Fox, Spiff, and Parrot staying in for Stateless, just waiting on those last numbers. I do wonder if we are going to see Transacting on back in for a pick like this.
Yeah.
There we go.
Makes sense.
Rex is a great HR player. It only makes sense that Transrecti God also plays HR,
very true.
And another pretty lengthy map, so players gonna have time to really build up their combos on this pick. Going through all the longest maps in the pool, though. There's still no mod 3.
Yeah, I think early miss from Twisty, not gonna make much of a difference on a map this long.
No. Certainly not. And you don't expect the accuracies to be too relevant on a map like this one, although Michigan do find themselves a pretty significant accuracy deficit early on. We hope they can recover those accuracies, but Twisty down to 92 and Silver down to 95. It's going to give Stateless the early lead. We did see Trans Rectagon find a miss, but again, it's early enough that as long as they can recover, it shouldn't be too impactful here, especially with the earlier miss from Twisty. But once you get to that 350, 400 combo mark, every miss starts to become a lot more impactful. So this is kind of the stage of the map where you have to be a lot more careful. Stiff is going to find the first big miss of the match, and the score is immediately going to flip back over in favor of Michigan. They're going to have a chance to build up this score lead.
Oh, that's gonna be everybody on Stateless now having recently broken, and Papa Flame and Twisty's still holding on to their combo.
Snowboy clearly not too happy about that miss, but has teammates to back them up. So Twisty and Papa Flame going to be doing more than fine. And the longer the map, the harder it is to make up a score difference, especially on Square B2. 100,000 points doesn't seem like that much because of the length of the map and how little no density it really has. That is a pretty significant score margin. Stiff finding yet another miss here, and Papa Flame are nailing these cross-screen jumps, showing no signs of slowing down here, and this score lead continues to balloon up to 200,000 points, and it's going to take a miracle for Stateless to bring this one back.
And that's going to be very good for Michigan, as we're getting closer to this sort of more capping heavy diff spike, where Michigan wants to probably have a good advantage point.
This one is certainly over for Stateless. This one's going to be probably the highest margin we've had so far in this match. I mean, it could end up 400 to 500k possibly if Twisty Papa Flame can hold on to these combos. There goes Twisty finally, traded by Transrectagon, but damage has been done. This one is going to go the way of Michigan and Stateless. They're going to be looking towards their next pick.
Looks like the only player holding out through that whole section was Papa Flame, although I think Spiff hit most of
it. Yeah. Very impressive score here from Papa Flame. Still holding out full combo. See if they can hit the ending.
Yeah, that's a really excellent score from Papa Flame. That's a difficult map to full combo.
Yeah, it is a tough one. It's a very nice score indeed. So, question now is, if you are Stateless, where do you go from here? I mean, we have been looking at that no mod 2 for a lot of this match. That seems like the next kind of obvious pick for them because it is kind of the last remaining tapping option. But if not the no mod 2, do they try their luck at alts? Maybe they opt into that no mod 3, but he did mention that it was one of the harder maps in the pool, so maybe that'll scare them off of it as well. And then there's that, it is going to be no mod 4, so they're going to opt into tech team.
I do think Stateless is a good tech team, so I can see this, but I don't think... I mean, this is also... It has a fair bit of capping, a lot of cut streams in particular. So even if, like, you know, you can hit the cuts there's kind of just enough tapping that I do feel like they could potentially force some people off. It's not the hardest map, though. Honestly, it's mainly just a couple of like particular patterns, especially in that second half, that are really bad, and then it's sort of more medium difficulty sliders and things like that in the first half.
Yeah, I don't hate them changing up the match style as well. Sometimes you just gotta go for something new, and if it works out, then you're gonna get a couple picks out of it for the most part. You know, you're also looking at that hidden 3 control tech pick next if this one goes well. So we are gonna see HCL back in for Stateless, and Michigan will be running a pretty standard lineup here. Memesicle will be making an appearance, it looks like.
And I mean, looking at the last 2 picks from Stateless as well, they do seem to know what they're comfortable at, so I think we'll trust them until proven otherwise.
Yep. And Atara in to replace Soulboy. This map has too many sliders, I guess. Good luck, Captains, in the chat as we get into Hypersonic, the No Mod 4. And this is where the point in the match that starts to get a little bit scarier for Stateless, because the picks feel a lot less advantaged, and you know Michigan are going to be hungry to get that first break point on the board, and I think they're going to have their best chance so far on this pick, because Michigan are a team that have put up some really solid tech scores throughout this tournament, and this is certainly a map that they can compete on. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to keep an eye on these early combos as well, because this is another relatively short one, only 2 minutes in length. So any misses on these early slider patterns are going to cost a significant amount of score. Tara is going to be the first to miss. There goes Memesicle as well. Michigan finding some struggles early on. They're now relying quite a bit on Twist. None of those traded back. Stateless, 3 FCs out of the gate, and they're already a third of the way into the map.
Yeah, Stateless definitely very strong tech team. I think Michigan definitely has a lot of potential on this. If Stateless makes any mistakes, they could feel like they probably do have the skill to get the ending maybe. But yeah, and there we go. There's Time jerking on and Parrot going down, but at the same time, Crystal Breaks as well, leaving HZL with the only full combo going into the break here. Only about 100k difference, but there's not very much map left.
Yeah, and Memesicle and Atara have the strongest recovery combos. Between the two of them, they do have more combined combos than HCL on that FC. There goes HCL as well. All of a sudden, Michigan have a prime opportunity to bring this one back. Look how quickly that score gap is closing. All of a sudden, the score bar goes red, and Michigan are pulling away so quickly. Twisty even on the recovery now, and Stateless are in a whole boatload of trouble as we approach the end of this map. Michigan, a rocky start, but flawless through the ending. HCL finds yet another chain of misses, and Steve, we're going to be getting our first break point of this match.
Yep, Michigan, in fact, all 3 players hitting that entire ending. Just some slider breaks in that first half of the map is really the only thing bringing their score down from a triple FC, basically, minus those early mistakes.
Yeah, triple S rank as well from Michigan. They find themselves a whole lot of slider breaks on the pick, but did more than enough, and that's going to be really nice for them. Of course, it's their pick up next. It feels like they still have some good options. I mean, now that you've won the tech pick, maybe Michigan feels more confident going for something like a hidden 3 once again, but even then, they don't need to. They looked really solid on the Hard Rock 1, ended up being a really big team gap. So, you know, maybe they just go back into that Hard Rock pool. What is the Hard Rock 3? Slider aim. That is interesting. Yeah, I don't know how comfortable Michigan are on slider aim.
Hard Rock 3 is kind of like, it's a little alty swing map, but kind of got some, I think it's really the hardest part of that map. Well, there's sort of 2 main things to keep in mind. One, hitting the sort of getting the accuracy and the feel for the swing, but also hitting there's a couple of low aim dip spikes that are very easy to choke on. No mod one, interesting. Okay, yeah. This is a very short no mod one, but a very like just aim, skill cap, stamina. Like it doesn't really let up, so you're kind of gonna be hitting these big jumps throughout the whole map.
Yeah, I think going right back to the aim makes a lot of sense. We're gonna have the Living Tombstone. I think I'd say this one's a pretty well-known map. I imagine most of the viewers are kind of with this one. And yeah, like you said, this one is just gonna be raw aim, you know, slightly on the faster side, which is not dissimilar to our hard rock one. So I do really like this pick, and looks like we are going to be seeing Silver coming back in, and the Stateless likely just going to be running with a similar roster. I would assume so, but we'll find out momentarily. Beef Wellington back in. Best name of the lobby, by the way. Making me a little bit hungry. Not gonna lie. And yeah, we do have to yap through the whole map now to not get the VOD needed, which is always a good time.
Yes, very true.
It looks like we are just waiting for that last member of Stateless. Transactional in the lobby, but not in the spot. There we go. We do get the third member, and Papa Flame going to be the last for Michigan. Is Michigan with a really big opportunity to consolidate the breakpoint and put themselves on match point here. Of course, this is a loser's bracket match, so whichever team does lose one will be eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah, and this being sort of a very, continuous, but also short no mod one, and small mistakes can make a really big difference here. So if we do see, I'm not 100% sure what the comfort of the current roster on Stateless is on the sort of aim skill cap, but no mod one, notoriously, historically, for many teams, kind of a coin flip map. I think Michigan has a strong advantage, but you always have to, be very careful on that, especially with how short it is.
Yep, I think we're about to find out what that aim skill cap is for Stateless. We do get a couple early misses for Papa Flame and Silva. That's going to give the early advantage over to Stateless, and they have a pretty big opportunity here to get that breakpoint right back and even things up once again. There is going to be Spiff, who is the next to drop. Now, it's going to be 2 FCs to 1, so that does still favor Stateless, but Michigan right on their tail, only down by about 30,000 points, and all it takes is one more miss to spin things right back in that direction. A nice job from Parrot and directing on to hold through that pattern, but now we head into the big jump section. Spiff finds another miss, and now these backup combos are going to be relevant. Parrot does trade with Silboy, and it's the combos now on Transrectagon and Memesical that are going to matter. This score lead is going to flip back over to the side of Michigan as Spiff is finding continued misses on this pick. Silboy with a slider right hand. It really does not like the sliders.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very difficult map to be super consistent on. Not terribly surprised to be seeing a lot of misses here, but the two full combos fighting it out. The recovery that we've seen from Flame here from that early mistake is very strong for Michigan here, letting him start to pull away now. But Memesical dropping is going to be very bad for Michigan. Give Stateless a big opportunity to close that gap, flipping right back over.
Yeah, there was Papa Flame as well, but Transrectagon, with FC remaining on Stateless, finds the miss as well. This is anybody's game. It's currently Parrot with the highest combo in the lobby. Silboy not too far behind, but Parrot's combo will be enough if they can hold on. Spiff trying to build up some kind of recovery to get some support to Parrot here, but it's going to come down to these last patterns. I don't remember if there's really much left in this map. I don't think there is. It's going to take a 3-way miss from Stateless likely for Michigan to come back, but the end of this map is just too easy, and that's going to be a breakpoint right back for Stateless as Michigan unable to consolidate.
Yeah, Stateless not seeding as well this year, but still There's a reason they've historically been so strong, and it seems like they're really getting it together with this match, managing to claw back that break point.
Yeah, certainly looking a little bit underseeded based on how this match has gone, bringing a real fight to the 9 seed here. Transactagon says I missed after the map ended. That is a classic. Missing on the slow section at the end. But it is Stateless who do need to find the pick still. They did lose their last pick, and I think it doesn't necessarily feel like there's any clear direction for the picks at this stage for Stateless. I mean, it's going to depend, obviously, on what the players feel most comfortable on. But I'm not really seeing any standout map in the pool that's, oh yeah, that's going to be a good Stateless pick. It feels like most of their
Yeah.
picks are flipping the coin a little bit.
I could still definitely see a No Mod 2, but the fact that
Oh,
they
you're so
picked
right. I
No
forgot
Mod
about No
4
Mod 2.
over it, I mean, they did quite well on DT4, which I do think has some overlap. Um, that said, No Mod 2 is definitely more of an actual tapping map, so the fact that they haven't picked it yet does make me wonder if maybe they just aren't actually feeling as comfortable as they might want to on that.
Yeah, certainly seems likely, but you know, as we get later into the match, they are going to start having to pick some of the maps that they are a little bit less comfortable on, so we could still get the No Mod 2, and it will be the case.
Yes.
The 2 button is broken. Very nice.
No Mod.
All worked out in the end.
Without modifications, the second.
That it is. And it is going to be 192 yeets per every minute. Shorter one, only minute 49 seconds. And I believe these are more flowy streams.
Yeah. What is this development? Alright, we got the aim player in for tapping.
Let's go. Papa Flame is going to be the next window life.
D every time I'm forced to play DT.
Yeah, we will see how it goes. Of course, it's not a Michigan pick, so evidently they just don't really have a third player to this pick, which, you know, if you're Stateless, you gotta feel a little bit more confident seeing that message in the chat as we do get talks with the person back in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Papa Flame has been doing just, very well throughout this match, but, maybe that's kind of showing a bit of I'm not comfortable on this one.
We'll have to see how it goes as we get into Grievous Fate here. Early misses are going to matter a lot. This is one where the accuracies can be relevant as well, as if you miss once, it's not that difficult to find a big chain miss and really change your accuracy a couple of percentage points, especially because the map is not that long. Every single set of chain misses is a much bigger factor on the accuracy side, so we are going to have to keep an eye on that as this map plays out, but Stateless do need to find their own pick again. They can't give up and put Michigan on match point with their own pick up next.
Yeah, Papa Flame, having started out with very bad accuracy, has been recovering it pretty well. Transrecti got the first to break. Still fairly early in the map, but it is short, so we're already about a quarter of the way in. If there's no breaks coming up soon for Michigan, that is not going to be good for Stateless.
Yeah, but I mean, it is going to be an earlier miss, so it's impactful, but not insurmountable. There's still 2/3 of the map left to go. 93,000 points can go over so quick on a map like this one. Voxel Person and Transrectagon finding misses on that Blood Slider pattern. It's still going to be the three-way SC for Michigan. Papa Flame, the aim player, looking pretty good on this pick. Transrectagon with another miss. There's one traded back by a Silboy now, but it is Carrot against the world, trying to put Stateless on their back. So there's a lot of work to be done as Michigan find themselves up by 280,000 points, still holding 2 full combos, and things are quickly falling by the wayside for Stateless. There goes Parrot as well. Pop the Flame does trade, but it's going to be Twisty holding on and putting Michigan on match point.
And yeah, I guess this is probably why Stateless took so long to pick this one. I guess they're probably kind of starting to run out of picks a little bit here. They're just not quite as comfortable on it, not quite able to hold the big combo that you really need to win Nomad 2s in particular.
Yeah, I mean, based on how the rest of this match has gone, the Nomad 2 made a lot of sense as a pick, and we've been talking about it all match. But sometimes when you get to these later stages, the picks just don't work out, and seems to have been the case here, as that is a very nice score from Twisty. You know, Poxel, sorry, wants that one back. Gets, I believe it was a one slider break, but since that was right in the middle of the map, absolutely kneecapping that score. And now it's Michigan who are on match point. They've got the next pick and does feel like they have quite a few options left in the pool. I mean, they looked really good on both aim picks, Nomad 1 and, or no, the Nomad 1 was at break point, wasn't it?
So. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think they looked too bad, all things considered. That map is just hard. I could see going maybe, you know, with an aim map that isn't just pure, like, skill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of the hiddens out of Michigan so far, so I'm personally still looking at that, you know, they have that awkward aim at Nomad 1 if you're eating Blitzer. That is true, yeah. Stateless could certainly keep up if Michigan's not careful, but yeah, that hidden 1 awkward aim, the hidden 3 is a little bit more dubious, but it would be fun.
Oftentimes I would expect the more hidden team to want to go like the hidden 3, but it is kind of like with the sliders and stuff like that, I do think Stateless might be able to handle that pretty well.
And they are going to go for Hard Rock 3 instead. That is a very different style of aim, but it is still aim nonetheless. We've got our swing slider aim map.
Yeah, I can see this being a decent pick for Michigan. They've had a good time so far on that previous Hard Rock, and also just sort of like, you know, there's some decent aim speed in this one, although more like, you know, fast level.
We're going to wait a moment for both players to fill up the lobby. It was clearly a Michigan, you know, they really took their time to make that pick, as they should for the potential last pick of the match. And so I do wonder if they were just, you know, running a bit of a practice run on the map to see how comfortable they were feeling before they opted into that pick. We are going to get Spiff back in for Stateless as we wait for the remaining Michigan roster.
Looks like the Michigan roster back in, as well as Stateless.
There we go. Should be getting into this one any moment. Michigan with a prime opportunity to close this match out here and now. They don't want to give Stateless any more chances to come back into this match, because if we get to tiebreaker, it will be anyone's game, as that is a Nomad 2 type tiebreaker, which could be pretty good for Stateless, but Stateless are going to need a break point here, and then they're going to need to win their own map. So if Utah last, Killboy is going to find an early miss, but it's really not going to matter, because this is nearly 4 minutes in length.
Yeah, and this basically what we're seeing right now is going to be what most of the map looks like. I think it's fairly consistent, except for a couple of diff spikes where there's a decent amount of like, you know, circular flow aim.
have to keep an eye out for those disc strikes. Outside of the early miss from Sobai, all the players looking relatively comfortable out of the intro, although we're yet to really get into the harder parts of the map, as you mentioned, and so now we're far enough into the map that when we do get that first miss, it's going to be a big swing on the scoreboard if it's not traded back by the opponents.
And that's going to be HZL with that miss that we were just talking about. That's going to give Michigan a bit of chance to run away here before the first big diff spike comes in. The blue one is right around the halfway point. Or no, it's here.
Yeah.
Actually, everybody hitting the flow man.
Yeah, looking very good. Cellboy does find another miss. And that's going to balance things out a little bit. Michigan have a chance to build up a pretty nice 50,000 point buffer, so they've got a little bit of room to work with. This map is so long, 50,000 points is a bigger score gap than it seems on most maps, but with how high the combos are on both sides, it's far from a safe score lead. Stateless bringing this one back slowly but surely as that score lead does swing just based off the accuracy right now. It's a good recovery from HDL. Is that a real miss from Papa Flame? Was that
well,
Bancho?
with Bancho dying right now, it's hard to know, but...
It is. That would be a pretty significant miss.
Alright, let's see what the status is.
Oh, that was a very real miss. Transrectagon does trade it back, but it looks like, as it does settles, Michigan do still hold on to their score lead. I guess that miss from Transrectagon came through at around the same time. Now, it's going to be Spiff and Twisty in a 1v1. A quarter of the map to go. 90,000 points is a lot, but still very much within reach as long as Spiff holds BSC.
Boy also holding a decent recovery combo here. And Spiff breaking is going to probably, I mean, I don't see much of a path to recovery at this point. Michigan is going to just start running away with the score. Twisty on the FC.
Well, I would completely agree. Twisty cannot be stopped. Twisty has had some really good scores throughout this match. It does finally find the miss, but Silboy right there on the 700 supporting combo to make up the difference, and Michigan are going to be taking this one 6-3. So huge congratulations to them. They will be moving on to play Ohio A in the next round.
Yeah, really great scores all around from Michigan. I've seen lots of pretty high team scores too. This is very annoying map at the end, honestly, because it's just been so long. And it was sort of the slider difficulty just kind of builds and builds up to that end.
Michigan going to get a nice team score to close this one out. That does unfortunately mean that this will be the end for Stateless, but they put up a very good showing in their last match. Certainly made it interesting and really hung on, especially in the first half. Unfortunately, I think just ran out of picks towards the end. We do have still, I believe, 2 matches going on. We have, of course, the New York-Indiana match, as well as the North Carolina-New York match. So make sure to go check those out. Other than that, we do have more matches starting at 17:40 UTC tomorrow, and then we've got a massive block of matches starting from 18 all the way until 2 o'clock. So make sure back an iFlame. Thank you to Steve for the commentary and for the stream. And last but not least, thank you guys all for watching. Go check out the other 5USC matches.